Alright, so today what we're doing is we're moving this nuke into a single 10 frame box, but that's not the point of the video, but that explains why we have a telescoping cover, a bottom board, and a box here in the grass. But so this is a frame, so if Megan can get a good picture, this is a frame that we sent out queens with back in the end of April, beginning of May. And this queen obviously didn't take because this is laying worker brood, but we shook out the bees and we didn't have a home for this. So it sat under the lean-to. Today is July, let's take a look at my watch so I don't lie to people. July 19th. So it's been sitting under the lean-to and just been baking in the sun. It smells putrid. It just smells like death. But we have a few of those frames. This one even has pollen on it. Oh yeah, it stinks. And like, so if you look real close, you can see there is some webbing from perhaps wax moths, or it could be spiders, but you can see that the brood is still in here, larvae. It is a nasty frame. And I've seen people, what do I do with this? Do I throw it away or what? Well, I'm about to show you, we had 10 more of these frames. So we're gonna go over here and we'll look in a colony that we put these frames in last time when we were down, and we'll see how they look. So if you come around here, you can see on this lid that we wrote 7/12, so today's the 19th, so it's been exactly 1 week. We had a second super of the gross frames, and it was putrid. When we put the box on there, bees were fanning. You could still smell it. It smelled like death. So we're gonna take a look and see. I think people will be shocked what these frames look like today. I don't think we put all 10 frames in here. I think we did like 5 or 6 because we also wanted them to start drawing frames. So I think, if I remember correctly, these outside frames were foundation or had a minimal wax drawn on them from other colonies. So this is what this one looks like. Obviously this is not one of the ones that was all stinky and gross. Those we put right over top of the brood nest. So I'm going to set that aside. This next one is also a foundation on the one side, and then on this side was a frame that was in the mating nuke. We gave them a foundation frame, so they just had started drawing it when we shook them out. So that is a remnant of that. But now we're getting into the heart of it, and I know that these frames were the ones that were laying worker at one point, pollen, and all the nastiness that's just been sitting out. Doesn't smell. I still got the lingering smell though from the other frames, but that's what it looks like today. So this one looked just as bad, if not worse. So they're already filling it with nectar. And let's take a look at the other side. It's all nice and clean. It's got nectar stored in it. Obviously we're not using these as honey supers, despite the bees storing their nectar in here. But let's keep going. There was a couple other frames that we started to scrape the wax off. So I know there's some in here that were like half waxed, and we decided, you know what? Let's just add it and see what happens. So I don't know if this is one of those or not, but let me spin it around in just a second. But you can see, yep, this is one of those. So we can see here, this is where we scraped, and so the bees are starting to draw that back out. You can see the different coloration, that the new wax is lighter. But one thing I do want Megan to capture is, she's already laying in this. So in this, on this left side here, hopefully you can see, let me blow the bees. And actually all the way down at the bottom, you can see there's eggs. So in a week, they have drawn it out back to the ability for the queen to lay in it. So I hope she can capture it. If not, she's saying no. You gotta trust me, there's eggs in there. But let's keep going. So that was frame 4. I know the nasty ones were in the heart of it, so 5 and 6 should be pretty gross. So we'll see what they look like. So this is one that we started scraping. I'll show you this side first. So this is one that we started scraping because it had a bunch of dead brood and pollen, so my mom was scraping it, and then we decided just to leave it. And so they're working on drawing it again. They're utilizing the stuff that they were able to clean out first before they're starting to draw, and the same on this side. But you can see they've cleaned it right down. Looks very clean. It just needs to be drawn back out. All right, and let's keep going. So this is the next frame. This one was one of the worst frames that we gave them as it pertained to rotting brood, rotting drone brood. So maybe this is not that one. This is another scraped one, so maybe it's the next one. But they obviously have cleaned that up. Same as on the other side. They're drawing new wax. Some people get concerned about the dark coloration in those cells. Nothing to be concerned about. All right, so let's try. I think it must be this next one. Yeah, it was this one. So this is one of the most nasty ones that we put in there, and they've cleaned out all that brood. They got a bunch of nectar stored in it already in a week. So that's this side. You can see it's still kind of like uneven, like they're still drawing comb. Some of it might turn to drone brood, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. We need drones too. And that's that other side. So you can see they chewed it down in some spots, probably where it was really rotten and gross. They'll redraw that to normal comb, but you can see they've already got nectar and everything else stored up in there. So, and I think that's about it. I can pull this last frame, but I believe these outside frames, like I said earlier, were foundations or start of the start of drawing that we gave them. So that one, she's already been up here and laid in. They got cat brood, nothing on the back side, and then I'll pull this last frame because it looks like perhaps it was another one of the gross frames, and we just put it on the outside. This is actually spot 9 in the 10 frame box. And so they cleaned this one, but they're not using it yet because it's outside on the perimeter in this colony. Like I said, we just gave them a deep super last week, so they were, or a second deep last week, so they were just getting ready. But this is what those nasty frames we showed in the beginning, like that's what these ones look like, and this is what they look like a week later. So the bees are pretty good at cleaning stuff up. So don't throw your frames away, despite what they look like, despite what they smell like. The bees can handle it, and they're still good. Just make sure you put it on a strong colony, one that's wanting to expand, one that has the bee power, and they'll clean them all up. But that's it.